cars list?
This is a resolution we bring to you guys about this time every year. Basically, this is the county's CIP for the capital projects that we submit to CARS for funding. This year, the two projects that we have are Foxridge Phase 1 and Phase 2, and then 2017 and 2018 respectively. The approval of the resolution does not commit us to the expenditure of these funds. It's basically just to communicate to the county, here's our eligible projects that we're planning in our CIP to complete in whichever year they're designated.
And we'll get back to you later.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any questions about that? You guys all pretty familiar with that stuff? Any recommendations on that?
I'll recommend we take it.
Second.
Good. So it takes us to number 2, which is also John Belger. Foxridge Project Design Contract.
Thanks, Pat. This contract is with GBA for the design of Foxridge Drive from 51st to 56th Street. This will be our 2017 CARS project. Basically consists of mill and overlay, full depth patching areas, curb and sidewalk, a couple stormwater upgrades on Foxridge between 51st Street and 56th Street. And this will, GBA will do, all the design, the preliminary and final design, and also help us submit our packaged CARS, sealed estimates, things of that nature.
Question?
I really do have a concern about that fee breakdown with the names. They need
Okay.
to tell us if it's P1, P2, T1, C1, or whatever, because I don't know what these people are making. And I see what their hourly rate is, but it's by their name. It ought to be by their technical capacity.
Okay.
So I don't want them charging us for it. That ought to just be a stand. I've never seen a contract with their names.
Sure.
It should be P1 engineer, P2 engineer, P1 technical, like that.
Sure. Well, I guess I'll get with Corey on that and have him modify that way. That's a little bit more clear. For me, I'm familiar with them, so I just kind of know.
I've never seen, I've worked with those for 35 years.
I think that's why I probably missed that. So
Okay, no,
I'll touch base with him.
Thanks.
Sure.
Anybody else?
So this would be paying $65,000 now for a plan, but it's not in, currently it's not in our CIP.
Right.
What is it? It is in our CIP.
It is in our CIP.
Mhm.
Yep, this one is the smaller of the Foxridge projects, and so this one is the one that we definitely have the ability to cash flow and move forward with in the CARS funding. So CARS would fund about 50% of the
50%.
construction.
If they,
It's in their plan because it's been in our plan that we've submitted for at
Okay.
least the last 3
so
years.
it's kind of a sure thing.
Yeah, we've submitted it for the last 3 years. I know,
Okay.
and we've kind of moved those pieces around a little bit too.
So what's the overall project, I'm sorry, for that street replacement then? What's the budget for that?
Well,
Is it this,
Danielle, can you go back to the CARS 5-year program?
is it 2.3?
It's actually $848,000 total, but that's going to come down a little bit because our estimate on the design for this project was $134,000, and the contract that you've got is $65,000, so that's half of. So we're going to see some immediate reduction in that project right now. One more, the one that looks like this.
Yeah, the chart.
There you go. It's hard to see up there
It's
too.
hard to see
So
over here too.
134,113 is what we have submitted in the past, our estimated design, and what we had plugged into our CIP for design costs. The contract from GBA is 65, so it's half of that roughly. And then we've also plugged in the 714,285.
So this includes all the, so I still don't think I'm understanding. So are you saying for $134,000 we can build this entire street?
No, that's
$848,000.
that's the design portion.
Right.
So
Right.
our estimate compared to the real world cost for the design portion is half of what we initially estimated.
Okay. So then the $848,000 can be cash flowed by the city with no issuance of debt?
Correct.
With the CARS funds. CARS
With the
pays
CARS funds.
50% of the eligible construction costs.
Okay, so we're only going to have to fund $400,000, which $350,000.
The way we have it broken out now is the CARS funding request is going to be $350,000 because the construction cost is $714. So essentially, we're asking for half of that. So the other part of that $848 would be made up by us.
Who was the last contractor who worked on this strip of road?
On Foxridge, I'd have to go back and look. It would probably be a ways back.
The only reason I'm asking, a lot of the baseline information that has not changed, topography and things of that nature, it's kind of an economy of scale. We can look at someone who's worked on the project before to see what's been done in the past, and they can just.
Well, and the information that, and part of the reason why the design cost has come down so much is because with this project means that it is just the mill and overlay. We're not getting into the full depth detail of the topography and all the surveying that goes along with that and stuff like that because it's not necessary.
Are putting any sidewalks? Are there sidewalks? There's not sidewalks.
There are some sidewalks along that stretch now.
Any more?
That is the intent, to make those missing connections, is what we call them. They're also going to evaluate the street lighting through there, because the way it is now, you've got street lights right in the middle of the sidewalk panels. So we're looking at doing some changes there, but that'll all come kind of through with the preliminary design and final design. Sure.
And do we have 51st to, from Foxridge to Lamar, not 51st to Lamar South? I know that's on our CIP, but I'm just talking 51st Street between Foxridge and Lamar, slated for anything in the near future.
It is not on like a CARS program or anything like that, because that section isn't eligible through CARS.
Correct.
That would be something that would be
on our street program.
Totally on us. I'd have to look at the.
If you would, I'd appreciate it. It's really a mess.
It is.
Itty bitty thing, but it's a mess.
RC? Okay, anybody have a recommendation for this?
Recommend to the council.
Second.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John. We've got tree board ordinance amendments, some red redactions and blue additions.
Yeah, we do this, it's actually supposed to be biannually and even number of years. So 2016, last time I checked, was the even number year. So tree board has reviewed this a couple times and really just no major changes, just kind of cleaning everything up. Like you can tell, the first under section 1, they want to make sure, and before it used to kind of refer to that they would coordinate with or consult with the arborist, identified arborist, the Public Works Department. We know Public Works, their duties are all changing. They're much more street focused now and other things. So this will give us the ability to go out and contract an arborist to talk to and develop our tree plan. And then just cleaning up that it should be biannually. By April 1st of each year, we'll submit changes and everything to the city council. So then the section 2, it used to list the permissible street trees as well as the prohibited trees, and they wanted to separate those out so they weren't listing permissible trees and prohibited trees in the same section. So that's making those prohibited trees their own section, removing some subsections that we no longer need, making those prohibited trees their own section. And then also when it's talking about the injury of trees, making sure that we include that they can't injure any trees in public parks, not as well as any streets or alleyways. So again, like I say, it's really just housekeeping, cleaning up, but if anybody has any specific questions, I can answer those.
Questions?
You've got height requirement, height and depth. Do we have anything that requires us how far back from the sidewalk or a street the tree has to be so there's no root damage that goes underneath the sidewalk and it has to be torn up?
I believe that is included in the ordinance also. It just is not anything that we've affected here, but I will double check that. So.
I recommend take it to council on the consent agenda. We can do that. Can we do that?
All right,
Second.
we got, who was it? Parsons?
Parsons.
And then we got the interlocal agreement for cooperative use of the pools.
Actually, the next one there is the tree plan.
Oh, I jumped right over that, sure did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, again, just in even numbered years, we review the tree plan and bring updates as requested by the tree board here. They just want to add here in section 2 under interface with governing body and staff that when we submit our annual budget, that we have monies that are specifically earmarked for tree removal and replacement, because they want to see that happen on an annual basis. And then the 10% rule under section 4 there, just moved that from section 3 under interface with landscape, because we had referenced the 10% rule there first in the document, so just thought that was a more appropriate place for it to be.
Second.
All right. Take it. And now, I'm serious, we're gonna do the interlocal agreement for cooperative use of the pools.
Yeah, this is, believe it or not, the 8th year for the Super Pool Pass program with those surrounding communities, and ever since we've built the new aquatic center, it's starting to generate some good monies for us. Again, that is that any Mission resident can buy what's called a Super Pool Pass for $50 for a family of up to 5, and then that allows them admission to any of the other pools. The City of Mission keeps 50% of that, of all monies generated off of the passes, and then the rest of it goes into a pool to be distributed based on the number of uses we have from each of the other communities. So you see, in 2014, first year of our new aquatic center, we made $6,000 on that. Last year, the numbers were down a little bit, down about $1,100, but it also was a cold, wet summer. But
I was gonna ask you why that was off a little bit.
it was a cold, wet summer.
I guess it was. A lot of
Yeah.
money.
So the 50%, does it go back into Parks and Rec? Does it go toward swimming only? What does the 50% go back into?
The 50,
That we're getting back.
the 50% that we keep from the Super Pool Pass sales stays in pool membership money. And then the additional monies that we get based on how many people visited goes into the daily admission.
So it's all counted towards pool revenue.
It's all pool revenue.
At the end of the
Yeah,
day.
all pool revenue. Yeah.
So we're in for another big year at the pool.
We're going to open next
Supposed to be
week.
a hot, dry summer.
Next week.
Well, if we could get a fire hose, we could open next week. It's going to be hot.
I recommend you take this to council.
Second.
I like it. All right. What the heck, Christy, since we got you up here and you're doing such a good job, how about the Intergovernmental Services Agreement?
Now, this is an agreement that actually Jenny Smith is working on with the senior program leaders in the cities of Lenexa and Shawnee, looking for a way to increase programming opportunities and the number of trips and the nicety, if you will, of trips, because right now we use that Mission Square van, and these would all be motor coach trips that go out. Again, each trip would allow up to 45 participants. Each city would get off from the get-go 15 participants that they could register. At the end of the registration date, if the city has a wait list and some other city, one of the other cities didn't fill all of theirs to capacity, we could put people in on that wait list. Then there's a 15% upcharge on the cost of the trip, which is, admission fees, bus fees, and all that stuff. And then based on the number of people enrolled from each city, again, they get back a portion of that upcharge based on the number of people enrolled. So it's a win-win. We get to take nice trips on a nice motor coach, and we get money for doing it.
Give me an example of what a trip is, a trip to.
Well, on Exhibit A are the trips that they have planned for this year already. So the very last page there. Prairie Band.
Who is they?
The cities of Lenexa, Shawnee, and Mission.
Okay, I mean, what is the intent of the trip? What are they doing at these?
Is it children, is it seniors?
It's seniors, I'm
Seniors.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's
Okay.
seniors.
You said that.
Okay. Didn't see that. Okay.
Entertainment.
Yeah, we're gonna, yeah.
Just opportunity opportunity, huh?
Yep. So, recommend we take this to council.
Second.
Third. Very good. I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
give you a
Christy.
breakdown.
I want to go to
Thank
Ray
you.
report.
I'm chaperoning
Where is
Balder
the
City.
chicken and picking?
Yeah.
Where is that?
chicken and chicken. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah.
That's gotta be down to.
Oh, I'm going to Warm Springs Ranch myself on April 7th.
Where is it,
Are you
down by
really?
Emporia where those chicken places are?
Oh my
Where is
God.
that?
Like Chicken Annie's, Chicken Mary's.
Boonville, Missouri?
Ah,
Well,
We have our
close to
own.
Pittsburgh.
how
Day?
exciting.
Yes. So, anyway,
It's the restaurants.
that was it.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Christy.
We've got a discussion item here. Danielle Murray.
And this is just an update on what you all had discussed with us at our work session. Just to summarize for you what we heard at that work session about what we should be working on. Since we had a little bit of a delay getting to this meeting, we've already really started doing a lot of this for you. So we're working with our attorneys and working on drafting ordinances that will incorporate these elements. So obviously we're still talking about prohibiting or continuing to prohibit pole signs and amortization of those pole signs on some sort of schedule. And dealing with the concern over temporary signage, trying to find ways to regulate that more strictly so that we can keep track of it and address the design and frequency concerns that we heard about. And then also to address the concern about window signs, making them more available to larger portions of the city to use legally, whereas right now a lot of those are not in conformance with the sign code. So we have a calendar on there for you as well. Like I said, we've already started working on the first steps there so that we are going to stick to that schedule as closely as we can.
Very good.
So I was out of town and not able to attend the work session. What's the, so I see pole signs up here, but what about like the flexible signs that flap in the wind and all of that?
That would be an attention attracting device, which is currently prohibited, so that's really just something that we need to continue to do enforcement with. It wouldn't require a sign code change to address.
So we just haven't, I don't know,
We haven't had-
recently, but
yeah.
in the past, we haven't
Right.
enforced it very much, but
Right.
we've decided to start
We haven't had
enforcing it.
staff to do that because it's primarily been a planning, zoning enforcement role, and so we transitioned that over to more of our neighborhood services staff, since we have two field officers now, so we can do more of that. So.
Okay.
And we're, the whole impetus was this, before we start doing a whole lot more proactive code enforcement, we needed to get our ordinances
Right.
straight, so that as we got into doing that, we were doing it really
Okay, thank you.
Good.
All right.
Good update, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything under other for this particular meeting? Then I'm gonna say, call this meeting closed.
Second.
Can we start the other one? Or is there just a-
Yes, we can.
Oh, we can?
All right, let's kick this off. That's why we always say, or immediately following.
That's what I
Okay,
thought.
so you guys-
All right, this one's pretty light. Our in-office massage therapy application.
So Martha is at a clerk's conference in Wichita, so I will, you're gonna do that? I'll arm wrestle you for it. Our code requires anyone who's providing in-office massage therapy, which is chair massages, to get a license from the city council. And so we have an applicant that has submitted her application and documentation, and is going through her background check. We would not issue that until, and I don't know, with the delay we have, Chief, where'd you go? Is she good? Do we know?
I was at home today with my
Okay.
kid at spring break, so I haven't heard.
We won't issue it, we will issue it pending, contingent upon her successful background check.
I was gonna ask you about the chair massages, which I've experienced before at
Right.
like a farmer's market. or whatever.
Right.
And so this lady is like mobile, she goes out to your office, sets up,
Correct.
and, but we can allow that, but we don't allow a table. Is that what you're saying? She can't take a table in there and have you lay down and do a massage?
I don't think so. I think it's chair massage.
It's specific.
Oh, and do we really care?
Yeah, that's well, I
I'll
was wondering
have
why
to
Is
pull
this
up.
an
why they
outdated?
spelled it out as just a chair massage.
This seems like an outdated.
Because I know people that do both. Yeah,
Right.
they do the other.
I'll look at that. I don't know if it's.
Chicken.
Well, I used to have a guy come to my house and bring a table and give me a massage in my house. It's
That was a
not-
whole different thing.
No, it wasn't. It was just a massage. Like, did I need some kind of,
License?
did he need that? I don't know. So I would, yeah, I think we
Okay.
probably should just look at this
But she's applying for a business license in the state of, in the city, right?
Because we require it.
Yes, we require.
Otherwise,
Well,
we could just go.
So if I call, which
I thought
we
she
have
was
done
gonna
in the
have an
past,
office here.
you call a masseuse whose office, they work out
Or
of
let's just
their
call
home
her
in Kansas
massage
City. Sure. In Kansas City, Missouri, and he or she comes over to your house in Mission, Kansas, because they do the mobile massage or whatever, they don't have to get a permit in Mission to come over and do that, do they?
It's on her, isn't it? The licensing is
Sure.
on the person, not the geography. It's on her.
I mean, and like at my company, like I've worked at companies where they've brought in massage
Massage
therapists to do chair massages for the afternoon.
Right.
So we require, if somebody wanted to do that over a Trip Pro, we would require a license.
I was assuming that this lady's business was here.
That's what I was
Yes,
assuming in the
yes.
city itself. That's why she was applying for a license. is what I was assuming.
You can tell I didn't really get into it or either.
Well, what we may have missing, quite honestly, in our code is, because in-office massage therapy is massage that is conducted in the business premises of a massage client and is limited to massage therapy applied only above the massage client's waist. So you could not have, technically have a
There you go.
on the
Nobody- don't need
table,
the
full
table.
body massage in office. What we don't, I don't think, I love this.
We probably need just to change that ordinance.
Yeah,
or
we
get
need
rid
to
of
look
it.
at that to address someone who may be doing.
Remove it. It would be interesting to see if other cities still have ordinances like this.
But again, you see what I'm saying?
Yep,
It's
no,
her-
I understand.
They
Yeah.
do?
Is
Yeah,
her
most cities do,
business,
actually.
In Mission?
is her business located in her home? In other words, that's where her
Her
office
base.
is. So she receives her phone calls or faxes, however she gets her orders.
Your text messages.
Right. Or does it matter where she is? If she was in Kansas City, Missouri, and I sent her a text message to come over to Mission and do it, would she still have to get a license before she could come into town and do that? Because how the hell would you ever control that? Exactly.
Unless a council person called in this to get over here.
And charge her.
While you're here, I need you to pay a $35.
I recommend we take this to council.
All right, but we will look at it, kind of.
Second.
We've done an overhaul of this before, but.
Yeah, we're gonna take it to council if it's approved by the chief.
Right, but we need clarification on what that means.
What, we need clarification of what?
If her business is based here, and if the
Why do we
licensing just
care?
well, she came in to apply, obviously, so, I don't know.
So obviously, that's what I was thinking. Obviously, her business is going to be based here is what I would think. I didn't think she needed to apply for a
So
license.
would she have to get a business license in
Right,
every
so
city that
we're
she
that
goes
way,
to?
we
or-
can just switch it back to,
Right.
we don't
Well,
really
Craig
care.
Village has this ordinance too.
They can keep theirs,
I like how you're up to date on all the cities' massage.
Glenn just said that, Glenn just told me, that's the only reason I know, but I didn't believe him. Like, we can't be the only one, it's like, Craig Village, and Laura's like, there are several. I'm like,
We're not the only one. Does make us feel better.
So yeah, with that caveat, the chief will get it.
So you'll give me that comment, but you don't give
But we
Glenn that
won't,
comment?
we won't be able to determine it.
He knows, he knows.
Right, she has to pass the background.
Right, so that won't be a motion tonight, correct?
Not, we could wait it back.
Okay. So it's off the agenda.
Okay.
Unless we
so
got
it-
it
will be a
done,
motion.
so.
It would be a
To
motion
extend,
tonight.
or to,
I mean, whatever she's done, and I can, let me go see, because we'll have time, I can see if I can pull her actual permit. So whatever she's done, Martha has determined that she would qualify and needs according to our ordinances and in-office.
but it's
massage
contingent
therapy.
upon the background.
But it's contingent upon the background check.
So we can
Probably
pass
just make a
that.
phone call on that, can you?
What's that?
Can you take a phone call and see if that passed?
We do it downstairs.
Yeah, so you could just maybe go check.
I can look in the mailbox and see if
it's
if we've even
returned
got
yet.
it downstairs. So,
It might be
We could-
finished.
but I think what they're trying to find
So that
out
would
is.
Well, this says that no person shall perform massage therapy or in-office massage therapy unless he or she has a valid massage therapist permit issued by the city pursuant to the provisions of this chapter. So technically, anybody who's coming in to provide in office. Now, what our code doesn't address is in home,
Okay.
right?
Good point.
So,
And obviously it wasn't that abnormal.
You know what,
She
that-
thought she applied for it, she thought she needed one.
she gets.
So.
That is an excellent distinction, thank you, that makes sense. If you're gonna do it in office, you gotta get, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
she
can see
obviously
that.
thought she needed one, or she wouldn't have applied for
Right.
one, so maybe that's standard operating procedure in her business.
So, yeah. I
So
say
we'll
we
be
take it
making
to
a
council.
motion, and then the motion for finalizing will be contingent upon the background check going through,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Correct, needed.
All right. You guys gonna arm wrestle for this one too? The resolution designating city?
So moved.
Let's go.
Yes.
Approved,
We're having
second.
the barbecue.
We're having a barbecue, and we're having
Yeah, that was
a
easy.
kickoff party with food trucks for the
Awesome.
Mission,
Mission
market.
Farm and Flower Market.
That'll be fun.
I'm excited.
Good job.
All right. Anything under other?
Yeah, I've got a few things, no.
I just want to say great job in finishing before Pat.
Yeah, no kidding, I thought mine was quick.
Good job, Marcy.
Wow.
Two things, this
So
was
we're
the
gonna
nice
start
that
it
we
at
could do it
6:30.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for making that
Oh,
so
looks like I
easy.
got time to run out and get some dinner.
You do have to screw up in work, lunch and dinner.
Any big plans tomorrow, Pat?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Well,
Your
let's see,
day.
tomorrow,
Your
big day?
Patrick's
Big day.
Oh, yeah.
Your day.
Yeah, I'll be down.
How's Mary
A big
doing?
party.
How's
You are?
She's doing all right.
Is she
Yeah, just not driving her crazy yet.
good? Is she down in Florida or is she up here?
No, she's up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a lot of hours, but she's making it work right now.
Good.
We need to move tables back, guys? Let's do
Yeah.
that before the meeting's going to
Not saying I won't, but those
I'm
first.
always worried about the meeting.
Try to help, man, try to help.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chief.
We are, I'm sending it.
Scott.
I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
I cheat.
You're getting that.